Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Free Hour. It's your boy Trevor Turner, back again with another episode of the Free Hour ABCs, the ABCs of Tree. And today we're going to be talking about something really important. We're on the letter U. For the letter U, we're going to be talking about unlearning. This is a process that I've gone through, so I'm going to give you a lot of personal experience. I'm going to give you a lot of stuff that I have gone through, processes that I have done. I don't even think I'm going to be quoting books like that, like I normally do. I'm just going to be talking about why it's important. I'm going to be talking about what we need to unlearn, and we're going to be talking about how we unlearn. Because a lot of the things that we've been talking about so far, we've been talking about adding new knowledge. We've been talking about new mindsets. We've been talking about new beliefs. We've been talking about making different and better choices. We've been talking about desires. We've been talking about purpose. We've been talking about habits. We've been talking about a lot of new things that we're going to be adding. One of the problems is that we like to, as human beings, revert to default settings. We like to go back to the things that we know, the things that we're comfortable. And one of the ways that we can get rid of those default settings, the default settings that are not helping us, that are not pushing us towards getting to where we need to go, is through the process of unlearning. See, what if the biggest thing holding you back from getting to where you want to go, to getting to that success that you want, from getting to that life that you want, that lifestyle you want, those things that you want, that job that you want, that education you want, what if the biggest thing that's holding you back are the things that you already know, the things that you already have the rock solid and unshakable belief in, the things that you trust in to protect you, to keep you safe, to keep you from going crazy mentally? What if those things are actually what's keeping you from getting to where you need to go? Today, we're going to figure out how to find those things out, and we're going to figure out how to unlearn them so we can make room for new things. Let's get into it. So first of all, we're going to talk about the science of unlearning. We're just going to talk about basically what it is, why it's important. It's going to be really quick because obviously unlearning is just the process of discarding old or obsolete knowledge, beliefs, or habits to make room for new learning and new growth. Now, what happens when we unlearn things is the same as when we change habits or we get rid of bad habits. It actually changes the neural pathways in our brain. And it makes room for new neural pathways. It makes room for new things. It makes room for new lenses. It makes room for new beliefs when we get rid of those old beliefs. And what happens is when we get rid of those things, we can go onto different default settings. We can go onto different ways of looking at things once we get rid of and unlearn those old things. Now, what do we need to get rid of? Obviously, we need to get rid of the limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I have no control over my future. I can't change nothing. Everything's out of my hands. Obviously, those are things that we need to get rid of. But it's sometimes more subtle than that. When we look at the things that we need to get rid of, it's habits that are, and I don't like to say the word harmful because it's like there are habits that aren't necessarily harmful. They just hinder you from getting to where you want to go. There are things that slow you down from getting to where you want to go because there may be habits that are beneficial for survival. There may be habits or beliefs or ways of thinking that are beneficial for you in a certain sense, but do not help you get to where you want to go. They are not stepping stones to your destination. They are stepping stones to what other people want for you, or what society deems good enough for you, or what social media tells you that you need to be. Those are the things that we need to unlearn and get rid of. Also, outdated knowledge and skills. We need to unlearn those things. We need to get rid of those things to make room for updated and new knowledge. See, because this world is a changing world. Not only does this world change, but people change. And not only do people change, but we change. And the thing that might have worked for us 10, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, even last year, 2 years ago, may not work for you today. That knowledge needs to change, it needs to adapt, it needs to grow, it needs to evolve. And the process of doing that is unlearning. So we've talked about really quick why it's important. We've talked about what it is. Let's just dive into the process of doing this shit. How do we unlearn? So like I said, unlearning is a process of discarding outdated or incorrect knowledge, beliefs, or habit that no longer serve us well. It's an essential part of growth. And the first step to getting there is identifying what needs to be unlearned. The way that we identify what needs to be unlearned is self-awareness. What we do is we reflect on our current beliefs, habits, and behaviors, and we identify which of these no longer align with where it is that we're trying to go, that no longer align with the person that we are trying to become. See, one of the things that we've talked about so far is when we wake up in the morning, we visualize the person that we want to become. We visualize the things that we want, right? And then on top of that, to build on that, we visualize the type of person who has this stuff. We put that person in our shoes, in our place. We put that person in our spot. And we think about what that person looks like. We think about the things that that person does. We think about the things that that person believes. We think about the actions that that person takes on a daily basis. And what happens is this, is that a lot of times when we think about that, we'll start our day strong. We'll go through our day doing things the right way. And then when we stop being present, when we stop being self-aware, when we stop being on ourselves and we go into that autopilot mode, or we go into that mode where we just kind of sink down to a different level or lower vibration, we start to engage in things that that person would not do. We start to look at things the way that that person would not look at them. We start to believe things about either people or situations or whatever the case that that person would not do. And so what we need to do is we need to have self-awareness. We need to fit every thought that we have. And we've talked about being present. We've talked about thought watching. We've talked about being an observer of our own thoughts. We've talked about these things before. Now, what we have done after that, we've also talked about challenging. We've talked about identifying. We've talked about looking at those things and analyzing those things for where they come from on an emotional level, to unpack our blue beads when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dealing with people, when it comes to our emotional intelligence and stability. But now we can go even a step further and we can say that, okay, I know where that comes from. I know how that affects me. I know what it does to me. I even know the root cause of it. And we start to look at the things that aren't necessarily super harmful, right? And we say, okay, that's a belief that has served me in the past well. That's a belief that has either kept me alive, kept me from getting hurt. That is a belief that might even have me thrive in certain situations or certain environments or certain spots or with certain groups of people. But is that something that is going to get me to where I want to go now? Is that something that is going to help me thrive in the place that I'm trying to get to tomorrow? And you have to pick apart. You have to be aware and you have to analyze everything that you think about. You have to analyze these things and you have to do it until it becomes habit. You have to think about the things that you think about. Think about the things that you did today. Think about what things are going to get you to where you want to go and which aren't. No judgment. You don't have to look at it yet through the lens of judgment. You just have to say, okay, this is actually going to get me somewhere else. Like I want to be an author, I want to be an actor, I want to be a content creator, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to own my own business one day. I want to get to these little levels of having things and I want to do these things. This belief is going to get me there. These actions are going to get me there. These things are going to improve myself and elevate myself. This one right here is not necessarily super harmful, but it is only going to carry me up a certain ladder with a certain group of people or in a certain company. This one is super harmful. And you don't look at those things for judgment yet, you just identify. You identify your beliefs, you identify the thoughts, you identify the habits, you even identify the people. And then next what you do is you start to challenge those existing beliefs and assumptions. Now, this is the first time that we've actually started to challenge. One of the things that we've done before is process. Because when it comes to emotions, when it comes to the things that we've dealt with, the things that we default to emotionally, right? We validate our own feelings. We don't challenge the way we feel. We challenge the way we react. We challenge the way we act. When it comes to unlearning beliefs, assumptions, when it comes to unlearning thoughts, habits, you have to challenge. You have to challenge. You have to question the validity and the origin of beliefs and thoughts. You have to ask yourself, why do you hold these beliefs? Why do you hold these beliefs, and what do these beliefs serve? Where do these beliefs carry you? What purpose do these beliefs serve? What do they do for you? Are they a reflection of past experiences? Are they a reflection of that person that you want to become? Are they a reflection of fear? Are they a reflection of prejudice? Are they a reflection of insecurity or anxiety? You have to question those beliefs. Are they based on facts or outdated information? Are the beliefs that you hold today relevant for who you are today? And then even a step further, are they relevant for who you want to become? Or are they relevant for who you were 10 years ago? Or are they relevant for the person who taught them to you 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Are these thoughts relevant even to you at all? Or are they just reflections of things that two other people who did their best trying to raise you taught you and told you and tried to pour into you, knowing that they lived and grew up in and thrived in and succeeded or failed in a world that no longer exists? That's where you have to question that. You need to use critical thinking to challenge and scrutinize your assumptions. And then what you need to do is you need to seek contrary evidence. You need to look for information that contradicts your current beliefs. Now, these are the beliefs that you have that you are saying like, okay, I don't know if this belief necessarily serves me. I don't know if this belief gets me to where I want to go. If it's a belief that gets you to where you want to go. If it is a belief that some people might call delusional, but you know for a fact this is a belief and a mindset that is going to carry you either to the stars, either to the moon, or it's going to make you land in the stars, then that's not something you want to look for contradicting evidence for. But if it is a belief or a assumption or a lens or a mindset or a habit that you are unsure about or iffy about, after you have done the work, after you have done the soul searching, after you have done the analyzing and the critical thinking, you need to find contrary evidence. You need to say, okay, you know what? This habit has served me well. These beliefs have served me well. These beliefs have made me to be a self-sufficient and functioning adult. They've worked pretty well so far, but I don't know if they serve me anymore. So this is where you find the contradicting evidence. This could involve reading. It could involve discussions with others who have different viewpoints, or placing yourself in new experiences that test your assumptions. And this is something that we can easily put this through the lens of, I'm not good enough, or I can't succeed, or I can't do it. You put yourself in a situation that forces you to succeed. Put yourself in a sink or swim situation and watch yourself learn how to doggy paddle. That is how you change those negative beliefs. So what happens is when you have these beliefs that you don't think may be getting you to where you want to go, these beliefs that are keeping you from interacting with and engaging with the right people to get to where you want to go, these beliefs that are hindering you from forming your mastermind alliances, these beliefs that are keeping you stuck in a field of work that you don't want to do, these beliefs that are keeping you thinking like, okay, I'm too old to start this, or I'm too young to go after that so far. You put yourself in situations that challenge that. You talk to people that are going to know how to challenge that. You talk to people and you deal with people in situations, or you read about people who've dealt with situations that are similar to yours, and they swim. Next, we embrace new learning and experiences. We embrace new. We're open. You're open to new ideas and perspectives. You engage with diverse groups, and you consume a broad range of media that can introduce you to alternative ways of thinking. One of the things I've noticed right now is that people are just extremely divisive. People are hugely divisive. And it's one of the things that I noticed actually growing up. So this is like a my generation thing, and it carried down from my generation to the younger generation. I'm in my 30s. And it is and it started with, the news cycle and shit. We no longer got news, we got opinions. We no longer went from channel to channel to channel to see what they were reporting on or to see what different information they would give us. We always stayed locked into the things that we believed in, or the people who were telling us the things that we wanted to hear. And what happens is that we subconsciously and unconsciously continue to do that with everything we come across. We stay in our lane. We stay in our lane with the things we're good at, with the things we know, with the things we're comfortable with, the things that feel safe, the things that make us feel all warm and fuzzy inside, even though we're fucking miserable. And I feel like we did a disservice to this younger generation. And because we need to be open to new shit. We need to be open to things that we may not agree with. We need to be open to people and things from people that we may not agree with everything they say. We need to be open to new media. We need to be open to new and alternative ways of thinking. We shouldn't be closed off to anything because there's somebody out there who's probably said some shit that you fucking hate, who can turn around and say some shit that can help you get to the top of that fucking mountain. And because you are unwilling to open yourself up to new things, you are unwilling to unlearn all of this other bullshit and get yourself a new perspective. And then obviously education. Actively seek new information that can replace outdated or incorrect knowledge. This might involve formal education, self-directed learning, or professional development opportunities. You have to continue to sharpen that saw. You have to keep your tools sharp. You have to keep your tools in working order. Sometimes that means updating them. Sometimes that means getting new ones. It means replacing the ones that no longer work, or getting the new ones that weren't around when you learned the trade, but are making everything so much easier for people in your field. It's learning how to use those things. It's directing your knowledge, learning how to get and access organized knowledge to where you can apply it to what it is that you're trying to do. Don't try to do everything with outdated methods. Make sure your methods are updated. Make sure your methods are effective. Make sure your methods are good. Next, we practice mindfulness and reflection. This is like a maintenance type thing. Because what we've done is we've already started to analyze. We've already started to challenge. We've already started to go over the idea of embracing new things. So what we do now is we're mindful. Practice being present and mindful. This can help you become more aware of automatic thoughts and behaviors that you need unlearning. It can also help you be more aware of when those automatic thoughts and behaviors come. What triggers them to come about? What makes you reset to your factory settings? What makes you go back to those automatic old way of things? It's kind of like knowing when you drop into that fight or flight. It's not about somebody pulling a gun on you. It's not about somebody pulling a knife on you or wanting to get down with you. Sometimes social anxiety might happen, but it doesn't happen with everybody. You start to realize what triggers this. You start to realize what triggers that fear, that fight or flight, right? And you either avoid it or you embrace it or you figure out how to navigate it. The thing that you do with these old thoughts, these thoughts that aren't serving you anymore, these thoughts that aren't getting you to where you need to go now. It might have got you from point A to point B, but we're trying to get to point Z. What is keeping you stuck at like point G or point H? And you realize what brings these thoughts about. What triggers these automatic thoughts and behaviors? What triggers you to fall back on that old shit? And you start to confront and deal with those things and challenge those things through this process. And that it helps you to become more aware of other things. Because when you're mindful all the time, you won't forget yourself. When you're mindful all the time, you won't be like the person who looks in the mirror and goes away and immediately forgets his reflection, forgets what he looks like. You will be present and mindful of who it is that you are trying to be, who it is you are right now, where it is you're trying to go, and every thought that comes through every situation. Every decision that you try to make that comes through in those certain situations, you will be able to counteract those things. You will be able to wrestle those things to the ground, wrestle them into submission, and replace them with something better. And then you do reflective practices. Regularly reflect on your thoughts and behaviors. Reflective practices like meditation, guided reflection, and even therapy that can facilitate deeper understanding and the unlearning process. This is where we go through and we start to say, okay, how am I putting things together? Am I putting things together in the right way? Is this the full package of who it is that I want to be? And you start to tell yourself things like, okay, I know I'm not there yet, but is this the way to get there? Because you know where there is, you know where the destination is, but is this the way to get there? You reflect, you constantly reflect. Like you said, whether that is meditation or even a guided reflection or even therapy where you bounce things off of other people, you have to reflect. It goes hand in hand with mindfulness. That is a huge key of the unlearning process, because once you started to identify, once you've started to challenge, once you've started to embrace new things, now you start to realize like, okay, which new things are helping me? Which old things are still trying to stick around? What things are actually getting me where I want to go? Or did I get so excited about the fact that I got rid of some bullshit that I just let any old new shiny shit come in? And this shit isn't actually going to get me to where I want to go. This doesn't fit the plan. Like this fits somebody else's plan for me. Or this fits what I was under the impression the plan should have been, according to social media, according to outdated knowledge, according to the knowledge I was still working with at the time, right? And you have to do reflection. And now you start to experiment with new behaviors. You do behavioral adjustment. You start experimenting with new ways of behaving that reflect your new understanding or learning. The practical application is crucial in solidifying new knowledge and habits. And what it was for me is everything that I read about, everything that I learned, I immediately put it in practice. I immediately tried it. I went through trial and error. I immediately thought about it. I immediately took it for a test drive. Some things I had to go back to the drawing board with. Some things were not getting me to where I needed to go. Some things were not agreeing with me. Some things were just draining me. And then some things were just supercharging the fuck out of me. And this is where we start to, this actually goes hand in hand with the openness as well, because you have to be open and willing to try these new things. Because the person that you want to become, right? Unless you're already on the right track, and then you're probably not even watching this video, watching these shorts, or whatever the case. The person that you're trying to become is a reflection of beliefs, is a reflection of habits, is a reflection of thoughts that you probably do not regularly engage in right now. That's why you have to be open and willing to experiment new things. Next, you go with your feedback loops. You create or seek feedback loops to monitor how these new behaviors are working. So you adjust as necessary based on what you learn from these feedbacks. And next, you create a supportive environment. You get social support. You surround yourself with people who support your journey of unlearning and relearning. Peer groups, mentors, communities. They can provide encouragement and insight. This is where you change the people that you are around. If you are not in a supportive environment, you seek a supportive environment. You seek friends that are going to help you get to where you need to go. You seek institutions that are going to help you where you need to go. You seek groups. If you're in recovery, you seek recovery groups that are going to help you get rid of that, what they call stinking thinking, and get into a new way of thought that is going to take you to another day of not using. You get into a place that's going to take you to another day of learning new things. You take you into a place that's going to help you, and to a person who's going to give you tips on another day of being that new person, on another day of growing. If you want to own a business, you get around people who own businesses. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you're probably going to be around a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. If you want to be a consumer, if you want to be a customer, those are the people you're going to be around. If you want to be something new, you have to be around something new and surround yourself with something new. Not only the things that you intake, but the people that you are around, that you bounce things off of. The people that you speak to have to be different as well, because they will reflect those things back at you, and the things that they reflect back at you will be according to their beliefs. If you're trying to own a multi-million-dollar business and you've only worked at McDonald's, you can't go necessarily and talk to people who work at McDonald's about trying to get this shit off the ground. They're going to look at you and be like, bro, you just started cooking fries. They're going to be like, bro, we all work at McDonald's. There ain't no opportunity in this life. And the people who join in with you, those are the people that you need to keep with you. But you can't continue to surround yourself with people who are not going to help you get there, who are not going to pour that life back into you, who are not going to take the ideas that you give them, water them shits before they give them back to you. Any idea that you give to somebody should be watered before it comes back to you. Any idea that you give to somebody should be shined up and polished up and treated with love, care, kindness, compassion, and respect, or should be given feedback and ideas instead of being shot down. That's why you need to have that supportive environment. And then environment tweaks. Modify your environment to support new learning and discourage old habits. This might involve changing routines, rearranging your living and working spaces, adopting new tools that facilitate change. For me, I wanted to learn. I needed to learn almost everything new, so I went back to school. This might be for people who are in a dead-end job right now. You might need to quit that job and go get another job. You might need to find a better environment. You might need to find somewhere that is going to better serve you. You might need to pick up and pack up and move across the country. You might need to move to a new country. You might need to move down the street. You might just need to wake up a little bit earlier. You might need to dress a little bit different so you feel a little bit better about yourself. You might just need to wave at your neighbors more instead of just seeing them and judging them. The things that we do to change our environment have a lot of importance, and they facilitate a lot of change. And then the last step, or second to last step, is just patience and perseverance. Things don't happen overnight, man. You have to use continuous effort. Unlearning is not a quick process. See, the thing about it is that we went to school, we went to high school. Well, most of y'all did. I didn't finish high school and shit. But I went for at least like 10 years of school, of formal schooling. Most of us, we go through at least 12 years of formal schooling, even more, because you have like kindergarten, pre-K, preschool. You might have early start or head start or whatever they call it, wherever you're at. And then you have elementary school, you have middle school or junior high school, you have high school. You have all of these years where you have not only been learning academic things, you have been learning beliefs. You have been learning social conditioning. You have been learning about relationships. You have been learning about all of these different things. You have been learning habits. You have been learning diet. You have been learning about the way that you talk. You have learned these things for over a decade, almost 2 decades, 12 to 15 years. You're not going to be able to necessarily change a lot of those things overnight. You can change the way you look at things. You can change where you want to go like that. But you have to be mindful every single day, because there are going to be times, maybe 3, 4, or 5 years down the road, where that old thought tries to come back, where that old belief tries to come back, where you meet somebody and that old lens tries to slip in and you say, what does this dude want from me? Why is this dude being so friendly? What does this motherfucker want from me? Why is he pouring so much into the ideas that I'm giving him? Why is he being so supportive and encouraging? What does he want from me? What does he have to gain? Is he trying to rob me? he's trying to rob me or whatever. And that's when you keep that continuous effort, that continuous mindfulness, that continuous newness to say, okay, no, that's old. I haven't been around those type people for 5-10 years already. Why are those old lenses coming back in? You have to keep that continuous effort. It requires time. Recognize that backsliding may occur, and it's part of the journey. Every time you slip, it is an opportunity to learn something about where it was that you was walking. It may be an opportunity to think about the type of shoes that you were wearing. It may be an opportunity to think about how you was following the path, whether you was actually on the path or whether you was going sideways, whether you was walking that path in the right way, whether you was even facing in the right direction. Every slip is an opportunity. You can't take failure as anything but an opportunity to be better. Every no is a step closer to yes. Every failure is a step closer to success. You have to realize that. Backsliding is part of it. When you sink back into those old thoughts, when you sink back into an old habit, maybe for a day or two, when you hit the snooze button for a week straight, that's an opportunity for you to say, okay, I need to buckle down. I'm doing something wrong, and I need to go ahead and shore that up. Maybe I need to go to sleep earlier. Maybe I need to be drinking more water. Maybe I need to stop keeping the TV on so late. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. It's an opportunity for growth. Everything is. And then resilience. Be prepared to face discomfort. Be prepared to face resistance. Be prepared to face discomfort. Now, when I say discomfort, man, I'm talking about internally. You have to realize that these old things, a lot of these old things, a lot of these old habits, a lot of these old beliefs, a lot of these old mindsets, a lot of these old things and these old lenses that we look at things through are a result of a seeking for pleasure and avoidance of pain. And I know I said no, I wasn't going to quote no books or whatever, but even Tony Robbins talks about that. Everything is a seeking of pleasure and an avoidance of pain. When you look at it through that lens, it's easy to see why when you do new things, you can have discomfort. Because what happens is that your mind is starting to tell you, no, we were doing that shit because it avoided pain. When we didn't do these things before, we experienced pain. Or we're doing these things to get pleasure. When we didn't do these things before, we didn't get pleasure. And you're trying to change those things that have helped you be comfortable, that have helped you to avoid pain or experience pleasure. Sometimes that pain is living with yourself and being alone. So the things that we've done to distract ourselves or to escape have prevented us from doing the work that we need to do to become the person we need to become. So when we immediately try to cut those things out or change those beliefs so that we can be alone with ourselves, or we could just sit in silence with our own thoughts for 30 seconds, if we have never been able to do that without experiencing some type of pain, then you will feel discomfort. You will feel mental, emotional, and physical discomfort. Fight through that shit. You have to fight through that shit. You have to be resilient. You have to keep the end in mind. You have to be prepared to face those things, and you have to stay resilient through the challenges. It's the key to successful unlearning. And then you have to also be ready for that resistance. The resistance is going to come from you, but a lot of times it's going to come from those other people. Especially if your goals are big. Especially if you're older. Especially if you're too young. Especially if you're black. Especially if you're white. Especially if you're a man. Especially if you're a woman. If you don't look the way that they think you need to look, if you aren't in the best of shape, if your eating habits aren't the best way that they could have been, though there are thousands and thousands of people who can tell you why you can't get there, who know why you can't get there, who know that you're not going to be able to get there, who know that you're not going to be able to succeed. And some of those people are going to know you very well. Some of those people are going to be people who are very close to you. Some of those people are going to be people that you're close to and that you have feelings for, that you love. Some of those people are going to offer resistance. They are going to get in the way. But you have to realize this. Growing up is realizing that people can love you, people can want the best for you, and still lead you down the wrong path because they don't know that what they think the best for you, what they think is the best for you, is the worst for you. You don't take the things that they say personally. You don't take the things that they say to heart. You don't take that resistance as an obstacle to you getting to where you go. You take that opinion, you see it for what it is. It's this person trying to help you avoid pain or get pleasure or be comfortable, because that is the mode that they are still on. Those are the default settings that they are still on. And when you have escaped from those settings, there are people who are going to say, what are you doing? You're headed for pain. What are you doing? You're heading away from pleasure. You're going to get those people. And some of these people are going to be, they're going to, for lack of a better word, they're going to violently oppose you. Not physically, but they are going to mentally violently oppose you. They are going to be abusive towards you. They're going to say some things that if you didn't have resilience, they're going to say some things that if you didn't have that person who you want to become so firmly locked into your mind that nothing is going to stop you from getting there, they're going to say some shit that will break you. And they think it's for the best. That's why you need to have that resilience. And last, sometimes unlearning deep-seated beliefs or habits requires professional help. Sometimes relationships can't survive without professional help. Sometimes you can't make it without getting therapy. There's a reason that all world-class athletes have coaches. There's a reason that every athlete who competes in the Olympics has a coach. There's a reason that every world champion basketball team has had a coach. There's a reason that the people who are in the best shape work with trainers, work with coaches. There are a reason that the most successful and highest earning corporations in the world hire people to come in and coach their people. There's a reason for that. It's not because these people are weak. It's not because these people can't do it on their own. It's not because these people need that crutch or need that support that badly. It's because that they know that professional help can make you exponentially better. Exponentially better. If you are working on unpacking all of your baggage and unpacking all of your emotional blue beads and unpacking everything that you've gone through in your life, why would you not have somebody there that can help you do it that much quicker and that much better and that much more thoroughly? Knowing that Kobe Bryant had Phil Jackson, why wouldn't you try to find somebody like that for your life? Knowing that Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson, why would you not try to find that for your life? Knowing that the Showtime Lakers have Pat Riley, who introduced them to the idea of continuous personal growth, continuous statistical growth every single game. Why wouldn't you want that for your life? There's such a stigma, especially there's such a stigma of just like finding help and seeking help. There's such a stigma attached to it. Like, oh, you doing this? Like, why are you doing that? But here's the thing about it. You're just that much better if you do it. You will be that much better. You will become world class in the things that you're trying to do. If you have somebody coaching you, if you have somebody who is professionally trained and professionally able and equipped to help you do these things, to make you better at these things, you will become world class. You will become the best in the world. You will become upper echelon. You will become elite. Whether it's something as simple as going about your day in an emotionally stable way. And so many people are incapable of doing that. going through their day in an emotionally stable way. You might wake up, okay, you know what, I got some good sleep, I'm doing good. You know what, the hot water feel good on my body when I get in the shower. I got all my soaps, I got my deodorant, I got all my toothpaste. Oh damn, my shoe is dirty. Fuck, my shoe is dirty. Fuck, I ain't got nothing to wear. Man, fuck, today is important, bro. Like, I have this fucking interview and my fucking shoes are dirty and I have nothing to wear. And it's like, why the fuck does this shit always happen to me? What is going on? Like, why can't I just do things right? I'm never gonna get this fucking... People do that shit all the time. And if you're somebody who wants to be able to go through your day without having something like that get you off the rails, without having something like that affect you. Now, it might not affect you to that level, but it might be like, oh shit, my shoes are dirty. Like, damn, they're gonna look at me kind of weird. And it just brings your confidence down just that notch. Like, damn, I ain't got time to iron. My shirt's a little bit wrinkled. Notch. Like, oh shit, I didn't have time to get gas. Now I gotta go get gas. I might be a little bit late. Notch. They're gonna look at me different. They're gonna look at me crazy. They're gonna think I'm not qualified because I showed up late. They're gonna think I'm not qualified because I can't even maintain my personal experience. And those little notches add up to exponential. And the thing is because you've been trying to do it on your own. Instead of trying to become world class, instead of trying to become elite, instead of trying to seek professional help. If you're at the point where you're trying to get over the hump of stuff, where you have been doing the work, where you have been analyzing these old beliefs, if you have already started the process of unlearning and learning new habits, learning how to make better choices, learning how to turn your purpose and desire into reality, if you are already on that journey and you are finding yourself coming against these obstacles or coming over these speed bumps all the time, maybe the time is now to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm not going to look at this as somebody who's going to call me crazy or make me feel crazy. I'm not going to look at this person as somebody who's going to sit there and judge me for the way that I feel about things. I am going to look at this person as my Pat Riley. I'm going to look at this person as my Phil Jackson. I'm going to look at this person who is going to make me into a world champion. And this is just one of the things that I need to do. And that's the last step. I know it's what I'm doing, you know, and I don't have no shame about it or nothing. I see a therapist at the school, and I also see a therapist over at CityServe. I got a mentor that I see at Garden Pathways. I got a group of people I bounce every fucking thing off of, because you know what? My old environments led me to having old negative harmful beliefs, led me to having lenses that mindsets and lenses that I developed to keep me safe, to keep me avoiding pain, to help me find pleasure, to help me be comfortable, to get me away from feeling anxious or anxiety, or help me get away from feeling depression. And the problem is that these beliefs, these mindsets, these lenses were not conducive to becoming the person that I wanted to become. The person that I want to become is not afraid to take risks. The person that I am striving to become, the person that I am close to becoming, is not afraid to approach people and talk to them. He's not worried about people being like, oh shit, why are you coming and talking to me? Where are you from? The person that I am with is in new environments. The person that I am becoming is in these new environments that people expect you to come up and talk to them, introduce yourself to them, give them a handshake, tell them what you do clearly and concisely without any nerves. They expect you to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, they're looking at you crazy. As opposed to these old environments where if you did believe in yourself, people are looking at you crazy. He's delusional. He's arrogant. That's not confidence. He think too much of himself. He think he too good. Like, oh, he think he don't belong here with us? The environments that I was in before led me to being the quiet, shy, introverted person I am today. There's nothing wrong with being introverted, but there is something wrong with walking into a room full of people who are doing the things that you want to do, that you aspire to do, that you are working so hard to get ready to start doing, and not be able to shake hands with any of them, and not be able to talk to any of them because you are so afraid of human interaction. because, not your fault, but because of the things and the traumas you've gone through, the experiences that you've gone through have led you to be closed off from people because of all the bullshit that's happened to you. And that's where you get that help. That's where you get that person to help you. That's where you get that person to unpack all of that bullshit, so that when you walking into a place that requires carry on only, you ain't walking in with all of this fucking baggage, because people can see that shit on you. You walking in with a backpack full of ideas and nothing else, because people can see that you're light. People can see the way you're carrying yourself. People can see you got your head up high, because it's like, I'm walking in here with the $1 million idea. I promise you. I'm walking in here with an idea that's going to blow your socks off. All you got to do is let me tell you. I'm walking in here with an idea that is going to make you want to pull out your checkbook, that is going to make you want to pull out your bank account app right now and transfer me what I need to get this shit off the ground. And that's all I have in my backpack. I don't have the nerves from the old neighborhood. I don't have the nerves from my old relationships and people telling me I wasn't good enough or never going to make it. I don't have that no more. And you know who I got to thank for that? I got Dave. I got Maria. I got Bear. You know what I'm saying? Professional help, very important. And that was the last step. That's the last step. I'm talking about unlearning. I'm talking about unlearning to make way for new things, to make way for new beliefs, to make way for new habits, to make way for new mindsets and thought processes. Once again, this has been Trevor Turner with the Free Hour ABCs, the ABCs of Tree. If you like the video, like it, share your thoughts with me. If you have experience with unlearning things and you want to share how you did it with other people, please put it in the comments. Please make sure that other people know how you did it. You might have some advice that totally just makes it click for somebody else. Somebody who might not even watch this whole video because it's not clicking for them, but they go into the comment and they see what you wrote and it just clicks for them. And that's what's important. Not people watching me and liking me and thinking I'm cool or whatever the fuck. That's not important. Liking my voice and all this shit, that's not important. Helping people to unlearn is what's important about this video. That's the value of it. And then, share it with your peoples so that they can unlearn their shit too. All right? Subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more. Deuces.